I just wanna be with you. Cause better is one day, better is one day in your courts, better is one day in your house, better is one day in your courts than thousands elsewhere. Oh, I just wanna start off by giving you glory. Beloved, I want to begin with just telling you how precious our God is, and how precious and sweet that moment of awakening and rebirth was for me. This moment is where I transitioned from before Christ to now with Christ, from dead to alive, from dark to light, from asleep to awake, and now reconciled to our lover. It began with faith and stillness. It all began when I stopped thinking about the chores, the anxieties, and the failures, and I just rested my mind. And as I began to pray, scriptures started flowing out of me like a living river. And it was just things that I knew only God could reveal to me. It was things that only knew He could say. Then a hunger for Him to speak silenced my mouth from speaking. And I said, God, if I could just stop and hear You speak. Woo! As thoughts of Him would come into my mind, I would take it captive, silence my thoughts, and keep listening. The air in the room is even now becoming thick as the weight of God's glory is here as I share with you my story. Then in visions of the Spirit, I went up through many windows of light. Consider it the ladder of heaven, a portal or tunnel. My body was literally shriveling in this vision as the presence of God engulfed me. And I slid off my chair onto the floor. My hair in this vision turned white. What comes to mind is one day is like 1,000 years to God. Then I cried out, God, if You don't stop, I will die. That's how thick, how weighty His glory was. And as I cried out, immediately the white light and weight of His glory was removed. But simultaneously, a physical wind that I could feel and hear filled my room and hovered above me. Then the wind of God literally pounded my chest and entered my body. I jumped up shouting, running around my house. Everything I read about in Acts is true. Everything has changed. Nothing is impossible. I tried going to sleep that night, but I couldn't. So I began evangelizing. I began mourning for those going to hell. I started shouting to try to wake people up from their literal sleep, hoping to shake them from their spiritual sleep. I walked miles that night barefoot, praying, crying out for the world to wake up. It wasn't the best idea because that landed me in a cop car. Next thing you know, in a mental hospital. This led to a down spiral of rejection and self-defense in response. But I realized my story belongs to God. And everything I've been through, all the tests, all the trials, became testimonies. So don't remove yourself from the process. And I now stand and I say that God is my deliverer. He has delivered me from lustful passions, from depression and its hold. So every time that old man tries to rise up again, I shout my way out. I praise my way through. I get into God's presence, for it's that moment where I was filled with His Holy Spirit that has shifted me from old into new. So I just get to that place again. I stay in His Spirit. I stay in the presence of God to crucify my flesh, for it has not been by might nor by power. That's not my story. My story is that He who began a good work in me shall complete it until the day that Christ returns. And now I share my story of all that I've been through and hope to get you to share your story. So that's my story. What's your story?